Um. So wait, hold on. So hi. Today the main topic is that the the app router versus page router. This is actually some kind of routing sorry, strategy in Next.js, and there are two types of this router, which is app router and page router. And I'm gonna talk about why we chose page router and what's the difference between app router. I'm just gonna show you my our website. We are a startup, but um, we are a student in the university, and we are trying to launch our product in August in this year. I think August 4 we're planning to launch on August 4. So let's do it. And this is really how our service looks like. It's there, and we're trying to make an MVP, and of course there's a light mode, and there's a chatbot that, and you can interact with your AI tutor of it. You can go to this home page here, start learning code with your AI tutor, and based on this, you can click your Python. You can click the some kind of curriculum that we made, and if you click it, you're gonna go to the chapter page that I showed you in the first part. So actually, now this kind of thing is actually built with Next.js, but we're use page router of it. But why? To explain why we chose Next.js, because we don't really like CSR based. The CSR is client-side rendering. Client-side rendering mostly use React, React Bit or whatever. And the reason why we don't like CSR is because the common problem of the CSR, which is it's really bad for the SEO, and therefore the performance of web application, it will be give bad effect of it. The CSR means that there's HTML and there's a JavaScript. In the CSR basically means that I know there's a HTML, but whatever. But let's just put the minimal HTML and just the deep, just kind of deep HTML, and based on this, I put all of the HTML, but using JavaScript, because JavaScript, if you use JavaScript, you can attach the new HTML via JavaScript. So JavaScript is the one who do everything. So the responsibility on the JavaScript. So this is JavaScript. The yellow thing is JavaScript, and this is the HTML. So if the JavaScript if there's lots of JavaScript, there will be more bad on performance, because basically we are relying the JavaScript to render the HTML. Which means that if there's a lot of JavaScript to run it, we have to wait for the HTML to say it. So that's basically you're gonna be what user is gonna be looking at your website is just a white blank web page, because your JavaScript is still parsing and it's executing for your HTML. So we don't really like this kind of the problem. Also, we have to increase the SEO, but CSR is really better SEO, because SEO requires a per render HTML, but CSR is the JavaScript is the one who doing everything. So we chose Next.js for wrapping SSG or SSR with the CSR, which means that if there's no interactivity, we can just make the HTML longer, because we commonly use the JavaScript for the interactivity. But if there's interactivity, put some kind of JavaScript, and after that we can just continue the parsing of the HTML. So there's a more SEO advantage of it, and moreover the performance issues can be reduced, because you already made pre-rendered HTML, so you don't have to run the JavaScript to make HTML. So you have to run JavaScript to attest the some kind of interactivity feature of it, but not the making the HTML of it. But there's a thing I just did because I'm a front-end engineer. I chose app loader because it's not really the thing. App router is more advanced with the page router, because I just trying to install the Next.js, and they just like write the recommendation of using app router rather than page router. So they put recommendation on their app router, and I thought there's something wrong with the page router because they told me to use the app router, because I don't know why. So I just used it, and so I believe the both. I think, and I believe it. I think there's a more better option of it, and I found out that it was not. It's really kind of good for your hobby plan or whatever. But if it's like for the business, you just choose page router. App router is just the too much obstructions that you don't know what's gonna be happen or not. So if there's more bone, if there's an issue on it, you gonna be have hard time on the debug of it. Because what app router does is, forget about SSG and SSR, whatever, CSR, whatever. I'm just gonna do everything for you. So that's what app router means. SSG, SSR, don't care. We are trying to do whatever, optimize it for your website, so you don't have to think about it. So you just have to make some kind of your website even faster. But the bad thing is that this app router is based on the server-side rendering. And so what's the issue? Since server-side rendering requires the server environment, so if you're trying to use local storage for your website, there's gonna be a runtime error because in your server there's no local storage of it. You have to think about this way. Example also, for the new application, you don't really use SSR for it. The reason why you use SSR is for the increasing performance, but whatever, like, or if your content is like frequently changing, SSR could be good options, but I don't think just using app router SSR for the default without thinking of we're gonna be give bad effort of it is gonna be make your product more costly. Your server using Vercel has to be migrate. It has to migrate into some kind of more advanced infra, example AWS, whatever. Since app router is using serverless, I think they use serverless architecture. Serverless. You have to think about those kind of thing. But my genuine question is, your static website, do you really need some kind of server like SSR for it, or just the Nginx server? You have to think about like which server you really have to use. Server-side rendering is kind of good, but do you really need server-side rendering for it for your website? Most of our applications doesn't need server-side rendering. You just even look at our website. It's just there's no server-side rendering. It's just the SSG with the CSR. And also, people are saying about like server component is the next wonderful thing is but if you look at big tech company, they don't use server component. Server component is just basically, well, there's too much on the loading issue on your client side, so let the server do everything. Server parse your bundle JavaScript, so you're gonna be much faster on it. But think about this way, that is not free. Your server, if your JavaScript, if there's lots of JavaScript, there's more CPU cost on your server. And you have to think about your server is actually really server. You have to think about the user increase. Example, you have to think about what if there's a lot of user of it. You have to think about load balancing, those kind of things. So it's too much. So I don't really prefer of server-side rendering. So this is really so this is it. So this is the topic of why we choose page router and why we don't like app router. So have a nice day. See you next time. Bye bye.